There is another new adjustment here inside of Photoshop CS4. It's called the Vibrance adjustment, and what's cool about it is it's borrowed from Camera Raw. So if you've ever used Camera Raw, you've probably come to like the Vibrance adjustment. And I know I always wished I had it inside Photoshop because then I could apply it selectively to photos. But what's cool about the Vibrance adjustment is even if you don't shoot in RAW and use RAW or whatever, you can use it now inside of Photoshop, and it does take some of the work away. A lot of times you don't have to go in and paint away any problem areas because most of the time it just works on what you need it to. Alright, so we could always go up to the image menu, down to adjustments, and over here to Vibrance, and that'll take us to the adjustment. But honestly, you've got this new adjustments panel inside of CS4, so there's really no reason to add the permanent adjustments anymore. It's right here. It always adds an adjustment layer, which we'll take a look at in the layers palette in a second. But here's the Vibrance adjustment. I'm going to click on it, and it's got two very simple sliders in it: Vibrance and Saturation. Honestly, I'm not even sure why Saturation is there because it's called the Vibrance adjustment, but I digress. You can use saturation. It's kind of the same as if we went over into, let's say, hue saturation, and I wanted to maybe come inside here and, I don't know, maybe pump up the reds inside of the photo a little bit. I could increase the saturation. As I do that, I'm not only pumping up the reds, but I'm also pumping up her skin color, which doesn't give us a very flattering result. Okay, so that's not really something that I'd want to do, and I get the same kind of results when I use this saturation slider. It does bad things to the skin color. But if I go to Vibrance, okay, Vibrance is going to let me pump some saturation into these undersaturated colors in the photo. Look at her skin tone. Her skin tone stayed, for the most part, exactly the same. Okay, and you can go down to the bottom of your adjustments panel, click on that little eyeball icon. That's before, and that's after. So what Vibrance does is it takes the work out of from having to go inside of here and add an adjustment to a photo that might oversaturate her skin tone, and to try to protect her skin tones, and it saturates the colors in the photo that need it the most. So if something already had a lot of saturation, Vibrance isn't really going to go in there and work too much on it. It's just really working on the colors that need it the most. Now, just to kind of show you here, I'm gonna increase the saturation as well, and now we get a fairly saturated photo. Let's take a look before and then after. But I have gone in here, okay, and let me zoom in for you. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna use the zoom tool just to show you what's cool about it. Watch when I click and drag with the zoom tool. See how it kind of just snaps in. It's not a very it's a very fluid motion inside here, and that's the new kind of gooey type of graphics acceleration that Photoshop CS4 has. But anyway, that's a different topic. Let's take a look at her skin tones. You can see they're a little bit hot here before and then after. Well, now since we used the Vibrance adjustment and we did it in the adjustments panel, it means we got an adjustment layer. What that lets us do is take our brush tool, just hit the letter B for brush, set your foreground color over here to the color black, and then just come over and use the color black to paint on any areas that you don't want to become affected here. Okay, now I probably painted a little bit too much there, so what we're going to do is bring our opacity of the black brush down, and we can get the best of both worlds here and just bring the skin tone down just so it's not so hot around here. Alright, so by having this Vibrance adjustment, we're able to do a lot of the work ahead of time because it really helps us enhance the photo. But the nice part about it is using it inside of the adjustments panel, we're able to come inside here, it gives us an adjustment layer, and we can use this mask on the Vibrance adjustment to remove the effect from any part of the photo that we don't want it to affect. And that's something we couldn't do inside of Camera Raw when we had this Vibrance adjustment, because Camera Raw, it basically applies it to the whole entire image. So it's a welcomed adjustment in Photoshop because now we can be selective about it.